As I was coming around a corner, there was a guardrail next to it. Was this big, for some reason I thought it was a big bag of trash, like somebody had just dumped it. And then as I got closer and slowed down, I saw I had hair, so I thought it was a big bear that was just, huddled up next to the guardrail. And I got within a few feet of it with the high beams on my El Camino, and then the bear stood up and squared off to my car. And its shoulders were as wide as the outside of my El Camino. And just out of the headlights, you could see the two big, between baseball and softball, yellow eyes glowing. Looking, it felt like it was just looking right through me. And so they kind of froze, and then I went to hit the horn to get it to move, and then I get about here, and something in my head told me that if I hit that horn, it's going to be a really bad night for me.
Hi guys, welcome back to the 401 Files. Thank you for joining me here. It's an absolute pleasure, as I always say. Before we dive straight into this video, I want you all to kick back, relax and enjoy, as always. But let's do 4 things really quickly before we forget. Quickly give this one a thumbs up, drop down in that comments box below to let me know about your thoughts, theories and opinions. Share this content with like-minded friends and family, and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, without further ado, please do kick back, relax and enjoy.
So we added a bedroom and then a bathroom with a big storage room for all of our hunting clothes and equipment, that sort of thing. So that night I was sleeping in my usual bunk bed, woke up, no idea what time it was, middle of the night, walked out onto the deck, and the deck is probably 16 feet by 12 feet, so 16 feet wide. As I got 3/4 of the way across the deck, I look up, and there is something looking in that bedroom window on 2 legs. Definitely wasn't a human, but at first it almost looked like whatever it was had its front legs or hands or whatever up to its face, like looking into a window. Much like you look into, somebody's house, you cover the light to see in better. So that was the first thing I noticed.
It's quiet, very quiet. There are bird noise, like there is bird song still, so I'm not altogether freaked out, but if that was to ever stop, then I guess I would be freaked out. We hear stories about this deadly silence, this deadly quiet that can ascend across the forest, and I've experienced that. It is absolutely terrifying, because it's not like it's a quiet that you can feel when the forest goes still. I'm not talking about there's no noises, there's no wind, there's no rustling of leaves or the snapping of twigs, there's no bird song. It's absolutely terrifying when that happens. And usually it's because, if the forest goes quiet, right, it's because there's a predator nearby, usually a fox or a wolf or a coyote. But for the wind to stop, for the rustling of leaves across the floor to stop, that's a very rare experience to have, but I have had that. It's almost like a thick atmosphere that you can push your way through. It's weird. If you're wondering what the fighter planes are doing above, it's because where I am right now is very close by to top secret military bases. Again, which adds to the eeriness of this place. This is a place that has a lot of strange reports. There's been, like I've said in the past, mutilations here, animal and human. A lot of UFO reports, strange cryptids, things walking on 2 feet that shouldn't be here, according to our history and science books. So yeah, when you add into the mix that there are fighter planes constantly going above, and just on the doorstep is the military bases themselves, it makes you wonder if they do know, or they are aware of these things. It seems to be the pattern though, whenever you see a military base, like a top secret military base of any kind, if you look hard enough in that surrounding area, you'll find many strange reports from people of weird things. Is that a coincidence? Or are they setting up shop where these things are happening? I don't know, but very, very strange. Sit. Lily. Up. Sit. Sit. Can you not sit? Good dog. You want to be off playing, don't you? She wants to be off playing, so I might just send her on her way for a little bit. Go on then, go. The weather, let's start with that first of all. The weather since last time I was out is gradually starting to creep up now. I think it's about 3 degrees as opposed to like -4 when I was last out. The snow is dissipating, so there's very little snow now left on the floor. What is left is the hard, crusty stuff, which eventually I reckon over the next few days will be gone as well. So things are starting to look gradually like they're going to get warmer as we move out of winter into spring, which is nice. It brings on a whole other element of filmmaking and a whole other element of investigating as well as the environment changes. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to starting this year on a high as well, because these raw long format type videos are doing really well, and that's nice for me because it takes, actually believe it or not, these videos are doing well, a lot better than my older videos, and it requires a lot less attention. So yeah, that's really good for me. That means that I can get out. I don't feel pressurized to sit here and talk to you guys because you all seem to enjoy it, so that's a bonus. It's another beautiful day, guys. Even when it's cold, even when it's like, you know, in the last video it was wintry, it looked dull, it looked grey. Still a beautiful place to be, but when the sun's coming through like this, it's even better. You know, there's not enough heat in that sun for me just yet. I'd like it to be warmer, but just seeing the heat or the nice warm colours again on the trees is quite inviting. It's nice. So I've had a lot of emails coming through, and this is why I'm sat here now to talk to you guys about this bit of the video. Is I've had a lot of emails coming through with some really fascinating stories that I think you'll all enjoy. I'm going to tell you one of them now, but just for anybody that has sent me an email in with your experience, if I haven't replied, please don't think that it's anything personal. It's never anything personal. It's just that I do have a lot of people sending me stories in right now, and I appreciate that. Don't ever stop. Please do keep sending the stories in, because I've created a folder, all the stories are going in there, and at some point chances are your story will be retold here on the channel. So this story that came through was fascinating to me. It's not the first time I've spoke about these cryptids or these extraterrestrials here on the channel, if that's what they are, but it's a phenomenon that blows my mind, because if this is even partially true, if this even a portion of this story is true, it's terrifying. Should I move? I feel like you guys can't see me. I'm gonna move. Nope, that's just as bad. I'll move the camera. I won't be a second, guys. Sorry, this is unprofessional, but this is what you get with the raw videos. But no, don't fall. Nope. I won't be a second, guys. I'm gonna relocate. So hopefully, guys, you can see me. I've been messing around with this camera now for about the last 10 minutes because the damn sun behind me keeps moving, keeps creating lens flares and all sorts of weird things. But I guess I could move again. Maybe I'll be all right. I'll stay here. This is what you get, guys, with the raw videos, by the way. I'm sorry, it's not always going to be perfect. I'm going to leave this stuff in. But I just want to take this time to sit here and speak about a story that came in through the emails. Anyway, so this first story that I'm going to talk to you guys about in this video is something that we call here, and many other people on podcasts and who are in this field of strange and thought-provoking topics have called the Glimmer Man or the Shimmer Man. Now, if you're new here or you've never heard that before, I'm assuming that you are relatively new into the field of cryptozoology and the extraterrestrial phenomena, because it's a well-known term. But if you are new and you've never heard that, or you don't know what we're describing here, it's pretty much the Predator in cloaked form. So if you've ever seen the movies Predator, when he cloaks himself into the environment, becomes camouflaged, that is what we're describing very loosely. So it can change. It does appear different from one story to the next, but overall, that is the Glimmer Man. These two hunters had been out for a few days driving. So they went out for a few days driving away from society, and then they spent another 2 or 3 days on foot hiking into the wilderness. Their idea was to get away from society as far as possible. Very good buddies. They'd been hunting together for a very long time, pretty much since they was kids, and they'd spent the first 2 or 3 days together away from camp trying to cover some ground and get some hunting done. Now on the third day, roughly about the third or fourth day, I can't remember exactly, they made a decision to split up. Now you all know from, you know, David Paulides' work and Missing 411 that one of the key points of strange phenomena taking place is at the point somebody decides to split up. Is that relevant to this story? I have no idea, but I just thought I'd mention that because that's what they did. They decided to split up, cover more ground, and try and go solo to do some more hunting. The guy who sent me the email in, let's just call him the first hunter. He said that he'd walked maybe about a day's worth of hiking away from the main central hub, the main camp that they'd set up. So he was about a day away on foot from that. Things were going well. He'd made a few small kills, nothing major. But as dusk started to come and the forest started to become dark, he noticed something jumping through the tree canopy. And it caught his attention. And I'm guessing it caught his attention because, you know, if you are a woodsman, if you are someone who spends a lot of time out in nature, you'll know that in these areas, unless you're in ape territory, there are very few animals or critters of human size jumping from tree to tree. However, this thing was. It was about the size of a human, high up in the canopy, jumping from branch to branch. Now that would capture anybody's attention out in the field. All of a sudden, there is an opening between one tree and another tree with very little cover from branches and brush. So he's watching this opening and this thing jumps across, and what he sees is a humanoid figure that almost looks like shimmering water. It's transparent, and he can see, albeit very distorted, the background of the furthest trees through this object that's just jumped the gap. Now you can't even begin to imagine, unless you've had this experience yourself, of course, but me sitting here retelling this story, I can't begin to imagine how terrifying that must be. You know, nightfall is falling upon the forest, visibility is becoming low, you're about a day's hike away from camp, your friend is nowhere to be seen, and you're just sat there on your own with this rifle watching what looks like a humanoid, transparent humanoid, jumping through the trees. You know, it's not like, didn't I see that? This guy knows what he saw. There was a clearing, a huge gap from one tree to the next, no overgrown brush. This thing was in the open, and he saw it. 2 arms, a head, 2 legs, albeit, like I've said, transparent in nature, almost shimmering, jump from one tree to the next. You would not mistake that for anything else other than weird. After seeing that, he decided that he was going to make the trek back to base camp. That's where he felt like he would be most safe. This rifle in his hand, out here in the open, with nothing around, no backup from his friend, is just too dangerous. I don't know what the hell that is. And this is me now going into character, trying to imagine what he must have been thinking, and almost trying to put myself in that position too, what I'd be thinking. So he decided that he would make the day's trek back to base. Blisters on his feet, out of breath, terrified with every step that he took through the forest. You could only imagine. I mean, I've walked through the forest at night without seeing anything, and it's terrifying. You're always looking over your shoulder. Every snapped branch is a reason for concern. And it's a very edgy time, you know, when you're on your own and you're walking through the forest like that. You feel vulnerable. Now imagine if you've just seen something prior that resembles the predator in cloaked form. But anyway, credit to him, he made the trek back to base camp. Took him about, like I've said, just short of a day. So he arrived the next morning. When he got there, his friend was already back at camp. Now he was desperate to tell his story, terrified, panicked, just wanted to get the bags together, get everything on our backs and let's get the hell out of here. You won't believe what I've seen kind of mentality. The weird thing was, his friend had exactly the same mentality. He'd seen exactly the same thing, which between them both, they discussed, makes sense. It's almost like this thing had been going back and forth between these two hunters, watching both of them and their movements, which to me is terrifying. Absolute terrifying. And I'm just thinking now, you know, about how that must have been. Can you imagine the conversation that took place? You come back, you're terrified, you can't explain what you've seen. You just know it's very, very weird. And then your friend is also saying the same thing. You know, you're both white as a sheet, look like you've both seen a ghost, and you've now got however many days worth of hiking back to the vehicle with this in mind. Fascinating story. And I liked the idea, what he said in this email about when he got back, you know, in this adrenaline fueled state, trying to express to his friend what he'd just seen. And I've been walking all night, look at the state of my feet, I've got blisters. And his friend is almost like, whoa, like, no, I've seen the same thing, why do you think I'm back here? That is crazy to think that this creature, whatever it was, whether it be a cryptid, whether it be an extraterrestrial, may have been watching both of them. That is weird. Very, very weird. You guys let me know anyway down in the comments box below, because we're talking about this weird cryptid, weird extraterrestrial. What is it? Would we say that that is more cryptid, or would we say that that is more extraterrestrial in nature? This always intrigues me when we talk about the paranormal, is how do we know when something is more paranormal than supernatural, or more supernatural than cryptid, or more cryptid than extraterrestrial? You know, it's a fine line. So you guys comment below and let me know what you think this is. Is it more cryptid, or is it more extraterrestrial in nature? So, as we're talking about emails, I might as well talk about messages as well that have come through on the channel. Lily, this way. Good girl. You know, the last video, guys, if you watched the last video, if you haven't, I highly recommend you go back and watch that so you understand what I'm talking about. But there was a part in the last video where I decided to do some whoops. Now, people might laugh at that. People might think that's cringy or embarrassing. They may not even understand why I did that. The reason being is that in the cryptid world, there are many reports, many recordings where people believe cryptids like Bigfoot, Sasquatch, have made these distinct whooping calls, maybe as a sign to warn people, or maybe as a communication method from one to the next. And so I thought I would do that to see if anything would call back, or if there was any kind of reaction at all from Lily, and sure enough there was. Took me by surprise massively, because as I mentioned in that video, I'd been shouting out all day, you know, watch like this. Hello! There's nothing. It's deadly quiet. I'd been doing that all day, she'd not reacted. But the minute I did the whoops, she really did, like, knocked it up a gear. She went into alert mode. And it was very, very clear. It wasn't subtle. But the weird thing is, and the reason I'm telling you this is because down in the comments, people were mentioning that their dog responded too while watching the video. In fact, one friend of mine, I won't mention his name or his channel, but one friend of mine said that his dog was actually on the sofa while he was watching my video at that point. And when I started to do the whoops, his dog jumped up, started barking, growling at the TV, and then continued to watch to the very end, almost on high alert as well. So it makes me think, you know, is there some kind of primitive instinct within dogs that is built in? And it's that noise. As soon as they hear that noise, they know to be worried, they know to be concerned, or on high alert at least. Because she's never heard that before. As far as I'm aware, she's never heard that kind of sound in her life. Maybe she did when she was a pup. She was born in the forest after all, so who knows what noises she heard in Romania when she was there. But for as long as I've had Lil, she's never heard that noise, and I've never done that noise. But it seemed by her actions like it was a familiar sound, or, you know, a reason to be concerned, because she definitely responded 100%. So I don't know, guys, you again let me know what you think. Do animals have this built-in fear factor for noises like that? It would make sense, right? It would make sense. Because if you're a dog in the wild, the hardest way to learn a lesson is in practice, because sometimes those scenarios are deadly and you only get one shot at that. So to hear that noise in person for the first time as a dog might be your last time. It makes more sense to have something built in that whenever that sound is vocalized, you get the hell out of there beforehand. And maybe dogs have that. Maybe dogs do have that sixth sense that when that noise is aired or vocalised, they don't mess around. They prick their ears up and they get the hell out of there quickly. Maybe that's what Lily was doing, I'm not sure. But she definitely responded. Okay, so Lily's marching ahead. She's got her head down to the ground, totally oblivious. No reason to be concerned or worried. And I think now would be a great time to try one of those whoops, just to see if it grabs her attention. She maybe even run back, who knows what's going to happen. Let's just see if there's anything to this. Whoop! 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 Ears are up. Stood like a statue. Whoop! She's not moved a muscle since I've done it. Lily, come. Heel. Good dog. Go. Yes, that was interesting. Did the whoops. Stopped dead in the tracks. Didn't move one more muscle. Not 1 foot forward. Stood completely still. Ears up on top of her head. Checking back in with me. As well as looking into the forest. So I don't know what to make of that. But it definitely means something to her. Maybe she's just, like I said, maybe she's just, I don't know. Let's do another shout of a different weird noise. Didn't care. Whoop, whoop. Didn't care. Didn't care about those two things. Whoop! Wow. That's fascinating. Whoop! What is it about that noise? Go. What is it about that noise? What the hell? I thought that was weird. But this just got way weird. So I saw some tinsel originally. I was like, what? Is that tinsel? And yes, to confirm, it is tinsel just lying in this tree. And then I saw this. This tree is full of Christmas decorations. Shout out to Paul 2023. This is your bauble, apparently. There's a ton of different Christmas decorations on here. What's really weird is this part here. I don't know how they've done this, but let me just flip the camera around. So it looks like there's a bottle holding up the next part of the branch. I can't work out how they've done that, but so weird. But yeah, there's decorations just all over this one tree. Look like they've been there for a while. Oh, who's this one? This one is dedicated to 2024. Paul. Okay, so, oh, what? 2024. Okay, so this same guy, I'm assuming, must come back and do this quite a lot. So last year was the time he was here last. This one is definitely 2023. Connor, Paul. I don't know why he's doing that, but it's cool. Come. Stupid dog. Goddamn dog. Can I pet that dog? Can I pet that dog? Can I pet that dog? A night without armor and a savage. If there is anything that understands a word of what I'm saying right now, please make your presence known, fly above me, and make me aware of your existence. Prove yourself. Open skies, no clouds. This would be the perfect chance. Like, fly above, like just fly across the sky in any direction you want. Let me see that there is something in this sky. That would be so cool, right? If you could just, I mean, CE5 says that you can call them in. You've got to be obviously under different circumstances than this. You've got to be in tune and sat down and almost meditative. But I just want to see something. Fly across the sky, god damn it. Lily's just casually lying down in an ice puddle. What an absolute weirdo. In an age where information is at our fingertips, it can be incredibly disheartening to grapple with the mysteries of the universe that always just seem to be out of our reach. The thrill of discovery is addictive, yet the vastness of the unknown can be overwhelming. Each time that I'm out here, I'm constantly thinking up a new web of theories, antidotes and conflicting ideas within my own mind. I've realised that the more I learn, the more I realise just how truly little we know. It's as if every answer leads to multiple new questions, creating an endless cycle of inquiry that can both be exciting, but also extremely tiring. It feels frustrating at times to pursue a passion for the unexplained, in a world that often prioritises tangible evidence over personal experience. But perhaps the most profound discoveries are not the answers themselves, but the connections we make and the stories we share along the way. What an absolutely beautiful place. And I mean, I feel so privileged right now, so thankful to be fit, healthy, and out exploring, making content for you guys. The sky is blue, there's not a cloud in sight. Okay, it's freezing, like really cold, but in a few months this place will heat up. And I'm not talking in terms of, you know, strange activity. I'm talking literally this place will become warmer as we enter the spring and summer months, and just exploring out here, doing my thing is going to be like heaven. So yeah. Anyway, I was just walking through the forest, and while I was walking and talking to the camera, I started thinking about sightings and where they are most likely to be encountered of any kind, whether it be cryptid or extraterrestrials, UFOs, even the paranormal. Where is the number one place where people are seeing this kind of stuff? If we was to pool all the locations, all the key factors of a sighting, are people seeing these things or having strange encounters more by the side of lakes, on the top of mountains, in forests, at boulder fields? Where is the number one place that people see strange things? And without a doubt, taking the number one spot, in my opinion, is a vehicle, driving or being a passenger in a car. People see strange things all the time. When they are kids, they're driving back from football with their dad, they look out the window, they see a UFO tailgate in the car in a field. Or, you know, Betty and Barney Hill, for example, they was traveling in a car when that happened. It happens all the time, and people might even now be sat here watching me say this thinking, shit, that is so true, because I remember when I had an experience and I was in a car or I was driving home from, and these kind of stories happen all the time. There could be one or two reasons why that is. And the first reason is that cars are quicker than humans. So before a cryptid or before a UFO has the chance to acknowledge that we're on arrival, we're already there and we've seen it, it's too late. And then before you know it, they've ran off into the forest or they've shot up into the sky, the experience is over. So maybe that's the reason. Maybe the fact that cars move quicker than humans and we're on them before they even know it. Or maybe most of these sightings, or a big percentage of these sightings that happen in cars, are misidentification because a car is moving faster. So naturally we have less time to observe something, or we see things that are going by quicker that could look like one thing but actually be something else. That could be an explanation. I don't really know the answer, truly, but if I had to give the number one spot to anything or anywhere in terms of experiencing strange phenomena, it would be in a car. Whether you're a passenger, whether you're the driver, that is where most likely you are to experience something. I don't know why that is, but out of all the encounters, all the stories that I receive, a lot of them, or a big percentage of them, happen while on the road. Let's just think hypothetically, okay? If there is a cryptid, if there is a Bigfoot or a dogman or some other type of creature that I've not named, sharing these kind of environments with humans, and they're taking people at will, free of charge, no repercussions, what are they doing differently? Because if a cougar takes somebody from a national park, or if a pack of wolves or a bear, let's say, kills somebody, we have been known to go hunt that specific creature down and kill it. For example, sharks. They're in the goddamn ocean. And yet there's cases where a shark attack has happened. They'll go out in boats, find that specific creature, kill it, open its guts up, and retrieve the remains of that human. How mad is that? In the whole ocean, they found that one specific creature that committed that act. You know, we've got people in urban settings that went missing 20, 30 years ago, and their cases are still open. They've never been found. And they've been taken from settings where people are around, there should have been witnesses, and yet they've never been found. And that's from an urban setting. Now, if a Bigfoot or a dogman or some other creature walking around in an environment like this one wanted to take somebody, what the hell could we do? It could literally take a person every single day. There's not going to be a witch hunt. There's not going to be people out with pitchforks trying to track this animal down. And the reason I'm saying this is because that is a belief that some people have. Some people, especially in the missing 411 cases, believe that some of the missing people can be attributed to cryptids, can be attributed to Bigfoot or dogmen. And if that is the case, that's why I'm putting this standpoint across. What are they doing different than all the other animals that have taken humans before? Because we can track them down, we can find them, no problem. And they, like I've said, they could take someone from here every day if they wanted. And yes, alarm bells would be ringing, red flags would be everywhere. We would know something's wrong, but what could we do? If the bodies aren't being found, and it's a creature that's taken these people that's never been really seen or proved, what could we do? We couldn't do anything. Like, it would be mass panic on a whole other level. And that's worrying. I genuinely don't believe that these creatures have, I don't know, like, I want to say they're not malicious or they're not violent towards humans, because there's been thousands and thousands of encounters, and very few times do we hear of anybody being viciously ripped apart or, you know, shredded up into 1,000 pieces by these creatures. We don't hear that. It's always just usually they growl or they huff or they have this they have this look of hate. But very rarely do we hear about a person being picked up, shaken violently, or thrown against a tree. We don't hear that. There are cases, obviously, but I don't think that that's what they're about. And that's weird, because if you look at the creature, like Dogman, and the description that that comes with, huge claws, razor-sharp claws and teeth, you know, stands very tall, muscular. That is a creature that we're describing who's built for the kill. But yeah, we just don't have many cases where humans have experienced that. I guess some people will be sat now looking at the screen saying, well, we don't have those cases because those people aren't here to talk about it. But I guess that would bring me back to the original point of this whole hypothesis. If we don't have the people because they are being killed by these creatures, then where the hell are these creatures? Like I've said, we can find every other animal that's had a run-in with a human and done us dirty. We can find those creatures, but we can't find the ones that seem to be of a high strangeness. Now, that could mean that they aren't here full time. They're not taking the bodies, you know, and just eating them out here in the forest, in the wilderness, leaving the corpses on the ground. Maybe they're taking them out of this area, somewhere else, which lends itself more to the extraterrestrial phenomena, which is what I've always said, I believe. If these creatures are real, I think that they're a form or a species of extraterrestrial. Just because it's walking around with fur, just because it resembles a dog, doesn't mean that it can't be extraterrestrial. I think we get caught up in this whole way of thinking that something with fur or something that resembles another species here on Earth must be from Earth. Not necessarily true. There are hundreds of accounts of extraterrestrial beings resembling humans, Homo sapiens, and yet we know they're not from here. Or if they are, and this is their native planet, we've been lied to for a very long time. I don't know where I'm going. Get used to this kind of stuff. A lot of you old-timers here on the channel will know that this is what I do. I go on tangents. I bounce around in my thoughts, in my mind for a long, long time. I go from one topic to another topic. I tie topics together and it's just all over the place, but that's kind of how I do things. So that's a really big tree snap.
And he heard footsteps from the other side of the house pointing onto the woods. He thought that it was maybe me coming from that side, but it wasn't me. I was still inside the house. I happened to just step outside of the house on the porch, and when I heard it, I was like, that ain't no wolf, that ain't no coyote for sure. It's way bigger, it's something else. It's for sure something else. We rushed inside the house because it was all freaked out. I happened to check by because we have a patio door pointing on the backyard. I check, and with the lighting of the fire, I seen it. It was really huge, maybe 9 foot tall, big red eyes reflection, backwards legs, big dog, canine head, the body of a man, long arms. It stared at us for a minute through the patio door behind the house, and then it just left into the woods.
Oh my God, I feel like I've got rubber lips. Like, I can hardly even talk, it's that cold. I'm going to wrap this one up now, guys. Head back to the car. The time is roughly about 4:30, 5 o'clock. The time that it gets dark really, really quickly. So, yeah. Please, before we leave, become supporters of the channel, members, Patreons. Do whatever you can to help support me on my endeavours with this channel. Like, comment, subscribe, all the usual stuff that helps me defeat the dreaded YouTube algorithm. I hope you've enjoyed the content. Please do join me back in a few days for the next video. Wherever you are in the world, look after yourselves, stay safe, and if you are in a position to do so, then please, 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 do look after somebody else as well. Without further ado, guys, I'll see you on the next one. So I'm just sitting on my bed, guys, watching the edit back, and I must say I'm really, really pleased with how the videos are going and the direction that the channel is heading in as well. You guys are obviously giving me positive feedback with these raw, almost uncut to some degree type of videos, which is really, really helpful, because it was a big shift from me trying to get outside of this mindset where I'm a perfectionist and every word I say has to be right and it has to hit home in a certain way, as opposed to now where I'm just getting out there. You know, you'll see me moving the camera around to get the angles right. You'll see me fall over when I fall over from time to time, and things don't always go right because these videos now are as raw as I'm ever going to be able to get them, and make it enjoyable as well. So thank you for the feedback. It's nice to be sat here now just, you know, ready to post this video, hopefully then sitting back and watching the comments come in from all you people around the world that have had experiences with these strange phenomena, because it is real, it does exist, and I've said this time and time again in previous videos. We aren't just crazy people, you know, we're not just here to make up the numbers, we're not here to stand out and try and be different from the crowd. We are genuine people with genuine stories to tell about strange experiences, and that makes us very, very fascinating as people. The trouble that we have is that in today's world where everyone's trying to be the same with fashion, with finances, with the way we speak, the way we present ourselves, we do stand out because we're going against the grain. But I've said this before as well, is those that go against the grain are those that make the biggest changes. If you look back through history at some of the world's biggest change makers, some of the world's best leaders and speakers, they're the people that stood up and were saying different things to the crowd at the time. These things are real. Dogman is being seen. Bigfoot is being seen. What they are, what their intentions are, is their agenda good or bad? I guess we'll never know. But the pursuit of trying to find more answers to piece together this puzzle and make more sense of it is what is keeping me coming back time and time again. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much.